Well, hello everyone. I hope you're having a great Tuesday today. Welcome to today's edition of Take 5. Hey, this week we are trying to bring some balance to this subject we've been talking about for a couple of weeks because we've been dealing with this idea of how God uses the various seasons of life, the good and the bad, to get us to where He wants us to bring harvest into our life. We have learned that God uses storms and trials and the fires of life. He uses them and even orders them at times to get us to a place where He can test our faith and try our faith and then bring something into our life and make something out of us that is useful and beneficial for the kingdom. However, to bring balance to this, we have to ask the question, are all storms necessary? And that's what I want to deal with this whole week. I'm going to talk to you about 4 things that prove that all storms aren't necessary. We believe that God orders our steps without a doubt, but I also know that there are some storms that I've been through, and there's some storms that no doubt you've been through that you didn't have to go through, but you brought it on yourself because of bad decisions that we make. And I want to deal with those things this week. So today we're going to talk about one thing that can make storms not necessary in your life, and that's simply this: listening to the advice of the ungodly. Listening to the advice of the ungodly. Now listen to this story, part of this story rather, from Acts 27. Paul said, "Sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with much hurt and much damage, not only of the ship, but also of our lives. Nevertheless, the centurion believed the master and the owner of the ship more than those things that were spoken by Paul." They ended up in that storm because the centurion believed the master and the owner of the ship rather than believing Paul. He listened to the advice of the ungodly instead of listening to the counsel of this man of God. You know, it's never a good idea for a believer to take advice from the ungodly. I would ask you a question. Why would someone in whom the Spirit of God dwells, why would you rather get advice from the ungodly or from the world than you would from God? I mean, you have access to the Spirit of God. You have access to the Word of God. You have access to the heart of the Father. Why would we rather take advice or live by the example of the world than we would take counsel from God? Psalm chapter 1 seems to present a choice that every believer has to make. Psalm 1:1 says, "Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful." Blessed is the man that doesn't walk in the counsel of the ungodly. So let's define counsel real quick. That is something that gives direction or advice as to a decision or a course of action. The ungodly, that represents sinners and those characterized by godlessness. So why would we ever, this is what the writer's saying, why would we ever want to get direction or advice concerning a course of action that a believer must make? Why would we want to ever take that from someone who is without God? How could we ever think that someone without God would know what is best for our life as a child of God? In order to not walk in the counsel of the ungodly means that we have to reject the advice and the ways of the wicked. It includes avoiding any guiding influences that they might try to use to shape or direct your way of life toward theirs, because after all, we're different than them. When the writer says walking, he's talking about progress. So that's why he instructs us, don't walk in the counsel, don't stand in the path, don't sit in the seat of the ungodly. That apparent progression that you see right there presents a picture of someone walking next to sin, then stopping to stand and take it all in, and finally sitting down to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. When we're instructed not to walk, not to stand, or to sit with the ungodly, it is implying stay clear of sin by avoiding any participation in every aspect of a sinner's way of life. Paul said it this way, don't be misled. Bad company will corrupt good character. So we've got to avoid those ways of life because that's not the path that we're on. A Christian cannot expect to make forward progress if you seek counsel from sinners or seek to follow in the way of unbelievers. Paul also said, don't be yoked together with unbelievers, for righteousness and wickedness have nothing in common, and light and darkness can have no fellowship. Let's read the rest of Psalm 1 and get the clearer picture. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight, this is where his delight is. This is where his instruction is. His delight's in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. And because of that, he'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of the water that bring forth fruit in its season. Its leaf will not wither, and whatever he does, it shall prosper. Here it is now. The ungodly are not so. They are like chaff that the wind drives away. Do you hear what happens to the ungodly? The wind blows them. Why would we take counsel from someone who's going to be in a constant storm? There really are some storms we don't have to go through, friend. And the first place to start is by not taking counsel or trying to follow in the way of the ungodly. Well, hey, our time's come and gone. I hope you have a great day today. I look forward to being with you right here tomorrow on Wednesday's edition of Take 5. Until then, God bless you. Listen to the Spirit. Don't listen to the world. Have a great day.